Hello, Carolina. How are you? Oh, sorry, guys. I guess you're gonna be hearing my dogs quite a lot today. Okay, I'm fine too, thanks. So, hello, Cynthia. Hello, Caroline. All right, so we may start, I guess. The others are gonna be joining us soon. Today, I would like to start with something different. I would like your help, to to guess about some pictures. So, for example, here I have I'm gonna be showing you some pictures, and I would like you to tell me what things they are, like what objects they are. So you may use the chat, okay, to give me the answers. So, for example, this first yellow beige object, what is this? What do you think this is? Okay, so write your guesses in the chat for me, please. A pencil, all right. Okay, are you 100% sure it's a pencil? Okay, but well, let's see what this may be. So that's a pencil. Well done, very good. Okay, hello Angelo. Let's try another one. What is this? What is this object? Let me just. So, what could it be? I think this one's not so easy, so just never mind your guess, okay? Just say anything that comes to your mind. No idea, Cynthia? Well, so let me guess. I'm gonna try as well. I think it may be an elephant. A window. Carolina, a window. Yeah, yeah, it may. It looks like a window. So let's see. This one is it's this object, a razor blade. Okay, I'm gonna write to you. Razor blade, okay, so that you use to shave, okay. Let's try another one. That's too boring. Let me go. This one. I like this one. What is this? You can see there's some hair on it, so I think it may be an elephant. What do you say? Just say the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay, that's fine. A branch. Interesting. Yeah, it looks like a branch that was somehow cut. hmm Some fruit. hmm no, you're not even considering the elephant, right? Am I so wrong? Because you're not considering it. Oh my gosh. So let's check about it. So this is an apple. It's an apple, you know. That's right, Mariana was right about the branch part, okay, because the branch is originally from trees, because you have the trunk where the tree is born, where it grows from the earth, and then you have the branches, okay. Also, we use the word branch for companies. For example, if you have a company that opens in a city, you have the headquarters, okay, of the company, so it's the first company, and then sometimes it opens some offices in other cities, so you can also call them branches, because you have the headquarter and you have the branch offices in other places. That's right. Okay. And just one more. This one. Okay, so what is this? Now it could be the elephant. Who knows? A cigarette burning? Isn't it like a strawberry cake or something? Because some ashes, cigarette, right? Well, a mushroom? Yeah, a bit. Mushrooms usually have a very random shape, other than the classic mushroom shape, right? But yeah. So this, I guess we have lots of smokers in the class, because it is indeed a cigarette. Okay, very good. Well, guys, so basically I just decided to start with these pictures, because some of them they are easier to guess, some are harder, okay, but when we are not sure about something, when we want to guess, oh, Luciano said some ice cream. Yes, it did look like an ice cream, right? At first I thought that maybe it was delicious, but then when I turned the picture, it was not so delicious anymore. But but when we are not sure about something, we may use some words. For example, some strategies that you used. For example, Mariana said, "Oh, I think it maybe is a branch." So I think so. It's some way to express that you are not certain, you're not sure about something. So it's a strategy. Or for example, before in the first picture, Caroline said, "Oh, a pencil." So it was not like an affirmative sentence, a pencil. It was like a pencil. So these are some strategies that you may use when you are not some sure about when you're not sure about something. Okay. Hello, Miriam. Hello, Maria. Oh, Maria, now that I saw you, I remembered I haven't changed or fixed my chair. So you may be hearing some noises along the class. Okay. Hello, Mariana. Hi, Mayara. But yeah, so today we're gonna see, besides the expression, I think, I guess, I believe, some other ways we can express probability in English. Okay, so it's from our unit 4, okay, the unit 4. And the first grammar point is about this, probability. Today what we're gonna review very soon, but we're gonna be seeing lots of modal verbs, okay? So we're gonna remember them. So this is an apple. Yes, it was an apple. Being but we're gonna be reviewing lots of modal verbs, okay? So pretty much all of them. So let's see. So when we use the probability of something, we can use the modal verbs, and depending on the modal we use, we express kind of an implicit expression of the certainty about the message you're trying to get across. So the modals in English are these ones. So we have here 10 modal verbs. Some grammar books may bring more, like need or have to in this case. as modal verbs as well. But classically, these are the modal verbs. So can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would, must, ought to. Some you're probably more familiar than others, okay, but we're gonna go over all of them tonight. Well, some things that are common to pretty much all the modals are some rules, like they do not change forms of the adverbs. So, for example, if you have a verb after a modal verb, this verb will never change. So you don't have ing, you don't have the past form or the past participle, the third form, because it's like the modal verbs always protect these verbs. So, for example, the first here in the list, the verb go. So you always have to say can go, should go, must go, but never can going or should went, using the past form. Because the modal verbs will always take care of the verbs, and these verbs will never change. Even the verb to be, which is always a problem in many kinds of structures, you're not going to change. So can be, should be, must be, shall be. You never change these kind of things. Also, the modals, they are going to control the idea. So, like in the second topic, there's no don't or doesn't in the negative forms. So if you need to use the negative form of the modals will get together with not. So in the example, he shouldn't do that. So he shouldn't do that. So you don't need to say he don't or he doesn't, should. Okay, so this kind of combination will not exist in English. Well, so all of these details are about the modals. If sometimes you use other combinations, because it's possible to use some other structures to express the same idea of a modal verb. For example, the first here we have, I hate having to wake up early, to get up early. So have to is another way to express the idea of must, because must is an obligation, and have to is also an obligation. In Portuguese, we have the same thing, like must with the verb dever and have to ter que. So both structures express the idea of obligation, but with must, it's must. So you don't have a past like musted, for example, or musting with ing. It's never gonna happen because it doesn't exist, right? Or the second example, I was able to play piano better when I was a child. So to be able to do something is the same message as can, to express some ability. But then you can say I am able, I was able, I will be able. Okay, so you can manipulate the verb to be as you wish. And can is not so flexible. So you cannot use canning or canned for the past, for example. You have to use could, maybe, for the past. So the modals are easy to use, but they have some limitation. And what we're going to go over tonight is the multiple uses of the modal verbs, not only for the must is only for obligation or can only for ability. We're going to go over more meanings for them. If you need a question, like the second topic, so can you give me a hand? Okay, so can you give me a hand? Could you give me a hand? May you give me a hand? So the modals will make the affirmative sentences, the negative sentences, and the questions. So the modals will control everything. And the verb will never change. So in this case, can you give me a hand? I can't give you a hand. She can give you a hand. So give never changes because can, the modal, is in the sentence. So it controls the idea. Okay. Well, so let's go over more separately on the modal verbs now. Well, for probability, we may use some of the modals, and depending on the modal you use, like I said before, you express like the level of your certainty. For example, must and can't. You're gonna use these two modal verbs for probability when you are almost sure that something is possible or something is not possible. Okay, let's see some examples. So when you are almost sure that something is true, it's possible, you may use the word must. So besides the obligation idea, you may also use the must for this message. So the first one says, "You must be joking. You must be joking if you can, if you think I can do that." Okay, so for example, oh, can you run 10 kilometers non-stop? Oh, no, I can't. You must be joking if you think I can do that. Because running 10 kilometers non-stop, it's not impossible, but it's not everyone who can do that. So you must be joking if you think, okay? So I'm not sure if you are joking, but this situation is so improbable that I believe I am almost sure you are joking. So you must be joking. You know, você deve estar brincando, você tem que estar brincando. Or the second example, the meat must be ready by now. Let's check. So we have been cooking it for, I don't know, 2 hours. So the meat must be ready by now. Because 2 hours is quite a long time to cook something. So my guess, I am almost sure that the meat must be ready, okay, by now. So this is the message you express. You don't know the information for sure, but you are almost there. Okay, you have some strong evidence to support your guess. The opposite for probability, the opposite of must is can't. Okay, so in this case, you shouldn't use mustn't because mustn't implies another message. So, for example, if somebody says, "Wow, I'm so cold, it's 32 degrees, it's 30 degrees outside, but I'm very cold," the other person will probably say, "Well, you can't be cold. It's almost 30 degrees outside." So 30 degrees, I don't know, maybe like now it's almost at 30 degrees outside, so you can be cold. Okay? It's not possible that somebody feels cold when it's almost 30 degrees outside. So I have some evidence to support my guess, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't know, maybe you have some condition and you feel cold all the time. I don't know, I'm not sure. So it's not possible to say with 100% certainty that you are feeling cold. You aren't feeling cold. So I just make my guess. You can't be cold. Or the second example, he can't be here already. He left only 20 minutes ago. So I don't know, maybe a person who lives in Foz do Iguaçu, and then for example, oh, he's coming. He's arrived now. No, he can't be here already. He left only 20 minutes ago from Foz do Iguaçu to Cascavel, where I am now. It's almost impossible, but I don't know. Maybe he drives too fast. Maybe he has a helicopter. I don't know, okay? I'm not 100% sure. So my strong guess is he can't be here already. Não pode ser. Não é possível. He can't be here. So that's the idea. So when you are almost sure about something, positive, must, and when you're almost sure that something negative, you use the can't, okay? So that's the idea. You don't use can for positive in this case. So, deve ser isso. Can be this. No, it's not possible. Or, não deve ser isso. Mustn't be this. It's also not possible, okay? Because the message doesn't really happen the same thing. It changes the meaning. Okay. So if you have any examples, questions, please use the chat. Moving on, we have the should. Okay, so should, we usually learn it for recommendation, advice, and that's true. But we can also use should for probability. So should express the speaker's expectation, something that you want to happen. Okay. For example, the weather should be pretty nice tomorrow. I don't know. It's kind of a wish that I have. Oh, tomorrow I want to go to the beach, so the weather should be pretty nice tomorrow. It's kind of an expectation. Or my team should win the game tonight. Okay, it's not a recommendation. It's not a suggestion that I'm giving to my team. It's my expectation. So, oh, my team should win the game tonight. Okay, because they play very well. I really like the team. So they should win the game tonight. it's some expectation. Okay, or okay, the last one also. She should be coming soon. Okay, so she usually arrives at 7 p.m. Okay, so now it's 6:51. So she usually arrives at 7 p.m. So she should be coming soon. So based on the experience, the evidence, I make my prediction, my guess. She should be coming soon. Well, because of the situation that it's some expectation, something that you want to happen, it's not very recommended to use should for unpleasant events, some bad situations, because it will sound, it's not wrong grammatically speaking, but it will sound like you want the person to get in trouble. For example, the first one, you should get hurt if you continue doing that. So this is not a very good usage of should, because it sounds like you want the person to get hurt. It's your expectation, your wish that the person gets hurt. So this is not a very good usage. But you can say, like the second example goes, I think you'll get hurt if you continue doing that. Okay, so that's my opinion. If you keep doing that, I believe you will get hurt. Okay, so here you can use the will, like we discussed 2 classes ago, because it's kind of a future. Okay, and you use I think because you believe this might happen, but no should in this case. Or probably you can't see the last 2 examples very well, but I will read. So the third one reads, the people should die if they don't get help soon. Okay, so it sounds like I want people to die, so the people should die if they don't get help soon. It's not the best choice of words to say, okay, if that's not your expectation. Otherwise, you could say the people will die if they don't get help soon. So here we create kind of a condition. If they don't get help soon, they will die. So it's a probable situation to happen if they don't get help soon. Okay, so be careful about should when you use it for expectation. So we started with must, you are almost sure. Can't, you are almost sure that something is not possible. Should, to express expectations about probability. And may and might. May and might, it's like you don't have so much evidence about something. It's just like a random guess, I'm not 100%, I'm not almost sure that it's true. I'm not almost sure that it's not true. I mean, in the middle. For example, may expresses the present or future that's possible. For example, she may be sick if she needs to talk to a doctor. Well, usually people don't go to doctors. They'll go see doctors. If she needs to talk to a doctor, there's a chance that she may be sick. Okay, so the idea here is if she's looking for a doctor, there's a possibility that she's sick. So she may be sick if she needs to talk to a doctor. But I don't know, I haven't talked to her, I don't know what's going on. Maybe she just wants to talk about, I don't know, another topic. So because of my uncertainty, I say she may be sick. Or the last one, we may come tonight if we have time. Okay, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have time, so we may come. If we don't have time, we're not coming. Okay, so it's like a 50% chance of coming because it's just a guess. And might is pretty much similar to may, but it's a little less certain than may. Okay, so like we discussed last week, a little less. Okay, so it's, let's suppose if may is 50, some grammar books bring this, may 50% of certainty and might 30% of certainty. So just to show a visual form that might is less certain than may. Of course, these numbers are just for illustration because it's impossible to put in numbers the degree of certainty about something. Luciano asked, is may used for requirement? Not a requirement, but some formal permission. Yes, you may use may for formal permission as well. So, excuse me, may I come in? Okay, maybe in a meeting because it's a formal situation. Excuse me, boss, may I come in? So it's more like a formal permission than a requirement. Examples with might. I guess they might come. I doubt it though. So, I guess they might come. I doubt it though. Here we have three words that express uncertainty. I guess, might, and doubt. Okay, so this person is totally not sure about if they're coming or not. Or the second example, she might be upstairs. I'll check. I'm here downstairs. I can't see upstairs because there's the floor blocking my vision and the ceiling. So she might be upstairs. I don't know. I'll check. Okay. We can also use the words perhaps, maybe. Okay, they give a similar impression to may or might. Okay, so for example, the pictures that we started the class with, you could say, oh, it perhaps is a pencil. It's maybe a pencil. Okay, it's also to express the same things. So you have ways to get around the modal verbs, but express the same message. So you can say, oh, it may be a pencil, or it's maybe a pencil. I think it's a pencil. I guess it's a pencil. So all of them express the same thing. Okay, the message is, I don't know, it's a guess. But then you have several alternatives to express the same message. And that's the idea about fluency, because it's to have a big repertoire of things, so lots of possibilities in your mind, and then, oh, I'd like to choose this, and you say. Or if you are not sure about this structure, you have some alternatives, and then you can express your message through several different structures. Some examples. Maybe I'll come if I have time. Perhaps she's sick if she needs to talk to a doctor. So, the same message as we did in previous examples, but now with maybe, perhaps, so different structures. Could. So could, may, might, they are very similar if you're talking about probability. Okay, so we could say that could, may, might, it's like 50%. You don't have enough evidence to support your guess. She could be here. I haven't seen her though. So it's a possibility. I don't know. She could be here, but I don't know. I haven't seen her. I haven't talked to her. I don't know where she is, but she could be here. She could be here. She could be there. It's a 50% chance guess. Couldn't is used to express present probabilities. Okay, something that's not probably not true, but it's slightly weaker than can't. Okay, so there before we started, no, it can't be real. It can't be true. Okay, so it's a strong thing, and couldn't is it's slightly weaker. So if I'm gonna say some numbers, like if you are 99% sure that something is not true, it can't be true. But if you are 80% something is not true, it couldn't be true. Okay, so you just change the modal and the level of certainty changes a little. Okay, but just like the material says, it's slightly weaker. He couldn't be in the class already. His level was so low 2 months ago. Well, so 2 months ago his level was very low and he couldn't catch up with our class, but now he's here, so he couldn't be in this class already. It's not possible. It's not impossible though. Okay, it's not, maybe the best word is not probable, because he should be studying much more to catch up with this class. So my guess, he couldn't be in this class already. Couldn't, okay. is not used to talk about the future, because if you remember the first things you learned about modal verbs, you probably learned it that can, ability in the present, could, ability in the past, which is true, it's correct. And because could is the past form of can, it's not possible to talk about could for future. So for example, if you're talking about rain, you could say, oh, it may rain tomorrow, it might rain tomorrow. Okay, so there's a chance. But you couldn't say it could rain tomorrow, or it couldn't rain tomorrow, because could is usually refers to present to past. So you shouldn't use could to the future. That's the idea here. Just gonna, okay, so here some examples. She might not come to the party tomorrow night if she's still sick. Well, might not, possibility, but I can't say she could not come to the party tomorrow. Okay, so this could tomorrow doesn't really match. If it's yesterday, okay, she could not come to the party yesterday because she was sick, because now I'm talking about the past. So that's a kind of a limitation you have for the modals. And just for some further practice, I'm going to show here some sentences, and I would like you to try to create a background explanation for that. For example, Mr. and Mrs. Olsen speak Swedish. So Mr. and Mrs. Olsen speak Swedish. Well, let's analyze the evidence. Okay, I'm just going to say the first one as an example. I don't speak Swedish. I'm almost sure that you guys can't speak Swedish. Do you know anyone who speaks Swedish around you, like in your city, in your family? Probably not. Are there Swedish schools in your city, in Cascavel? I've never seen any. So I have lots of evidence of people who don't speak Swedish. Swedish is not common. So if Mr. and Mrs. Olsen speak Swedish, they must be from Sweden. Okay, they must be from Sweden. So I have lots of evidence, but I am not 100% sure. So my strong guess is they are from Sweden because they speak Swedish. Okay, but who knows? Maybe they are self-taught. They studied by themselves. They live in Cascavel and they studied very hard Swedish at home. It's possible, okay? It's very possible, but it's not probable. So my guess is they must be from Sweden, right? So that's kind of a background I would like you to give me. So now I'm going to show you some other boxes, and I would like you to try to guess what the background message is. Okay, so for example, the number 2, our teacher isn't here today. So the teacher isn't here today. That's the message. So what happened? Or where is the teacher? Okay, so use your imagination and give some guesses, in the chat. Where's the teacher? So while you write, Maria asked, can I say that they couldn't be from Brazil? It depends on the context, Maria, because you're gonna use they couldn't be from Brazil, for example. Oh, let's suppose the people who visited you last month. Okay, so like in the past, the people who were visiting you last month, their accent was different. They couldn't be from Brazil. Now I'm making a guess, but about the past. So I can say that. Okay, or, oh, I can hear them speaking, I don't know, I can hear them speaking Taiwanese. They are speaking Taiwanese, so they couldn't be from Brazil because people in Brazil don't speak Taiwanese. That's kind of it. So I can make guesses about the present or about the past, okay, but not for the future or something. Right, so guys, where are the guesses about the teacher? Okay, so the teacher isn't here today. Maybe, I don't know, the teacher may be stuck in traffic. Or the teacher might be sick. Yes. The teacher must be late. Oh. Angelo has some information because Angelo used must be late. So Angelo is almost sure the teacher is late. Okay. Or Mauricio said, is the teacher at home? I don't know. That's a possibility. The teacher may be home, but I don't know. I haven't talked to the teacher. Okay. Yes, good example. So might be sick. So for example, Mayara said, oh, he might be sick. So Mayara doesn't know. It's a guess. Mayara is like 50-50. Maybe sick, may not be sick. Angelo said the teacher must be late. So Angelo is almost sure. So maybe Angelo has some information. Maybe Angelo talked to the teacher before. Hey teacher, are you coming? Oh yes, yes. I'm leaving home right now. So, oh, the teacher must be late. Okay, so this is some guess you might have based on evidence. Okay. And Mauricio's question, is the teacher at home? So if it's a question, it also shows some guess, some probability, because you're asking. If you're asking, it means you don't know about that. Right. Let's try another one. So without checking Google, just using your memory, Canada is smaller than Singapore. Okay, I am a geography teacher and I am telling you, students, Canada is smaller than Singapore. Okay, remember this for the test. All right. So what do you say about this? Canada is smaller than Singapore. Mariana said about the teacher, yeah, perhaps the teacher is in problem. Yes, perhaps. Good. It shows some guess. Mauricio said that it can be true. Angelo said it can be true. Can be true, but Canada. Canada? Singapore. It can't be true. Yeah. But right. So, probably Mauricio, Angelo, Mariana also, Canada can't be smaller than Singapore. That's right. Canada isn't smaller than Singapore. Canada must have more population than Singapore. Oh, that's a good question. By judging by the size of the country, probably yes. I guess Canada has around 30 million people or so. Singapore, I don't know. Marianne said, I'm not sure, it must be. Right. Canada is almost the size of USA and Singapore, so small. Yes, can be true. Yes, that's right, guys. You can't see, but I have behind my computer, I have a map, okay, behind my computer, and I can check now. No, Canada isn't smaller than Singapore, okay? Singapore is smaller than Canada, right? So Canada is the second largest country in the world. The first is Russia, so yeah. Basically, when you are sure about something, okay, so you know the information, you are not guessing. When you're sure about something, no modals. Basically, you just say Canada is smaller, Canada isn't smaller, and that's it. You are 100% sure, okay? What we are discussing tonight is when you are 95, 98% sure, 50% sure, okay? So that's what we're discussing here. And we are discussing it because we have lots of modals in English, 10, basically 10 modal verbs, and sometimes they work similarly, like we saw in the presentation. Could, may, might, they have similar level of certainty, but they are never the same, okay? So when we're talking about languages, one word is never the same as another word, okay? So people who study linguistics and things like that, they discuss about this in college, okay? Depending on the word a person chooses, there's a big message behind, okay? You can analyze a person's ideology, the person's point of view, just by the words the person uses. Let's go another one. Okay, just one more. Steven is smiling a lot today. So look at Steven, he's smiling a lot. Okay, so why is Steven smiling a lot today? Okay, give me your ideas. Have you drunk water today? You remember what we discussed in the speaking part last week? Okay, how much water you drink. About Steven, Luciano said, oh, he must be happy, right? Because usually people smile when they're happy, so that's a big evidence, so he must be happy. Mauricio said he might be in love. Usually people in love, they are happier, right? Caroline said, Steven must be happy today. That's right, similar to Luciano's message. Okay, so that's the thing. Do you know what happened to Steven? I don't. Okay, so if we don't know for sure what happened to him, we can guess. So he's smiling. He must be happy because usually smiles come from happy people. Marianne said, maybe he talked with his girlfriend. Yes, if he's in love, he likes his girlfriend. That's right. Fausto said someone special had smiled to him. Oh, good guess. So somebody special smiled to him, and he's happy now. You know, he's in cloud nine. Okay, an expression, cloud nine. It means like you're so happy that your head is above the clouds. Cloud nine. Something very, very good. Miriam said maybe he received good news. Okay, that's also possible. Good news. Usually people get happy when they receive good news. Mariana followed the same idea, but he must have received good news. So maybe Mariana knows some information, you know, because she used he must have received. So maybe he was expecting good news and he got them. Okay, very good, guys. That's how you guess in English. Okay, so you can manipulate your message. You can manipulate the information based on the words you choose, and depending on the modal verb you use, you give some background message. I know some information, or it's just a random guess. Okay, just by choosing one modal verb over another, you can express some message. All right, Marisa, I just knew the expression falling from cloud nine. Yes. Luciano, he could have remembered a good joke. Yes. Sometimes we remember jokes and we start laughing. That's real. All right, guys. So let's move on. So we're still going to talk about modal verbs, but now for a different perspective, for ability and advice. So here it's going to be pretty quick because it's nothing new to you, probably. Okay, Carolina said, oh, maybe he won the lottery. Oh, yes. Winning the lottery makes people smile a lot. Yes, that's true. Well, have you ever won the lottery, guys? Okay, let's be friends. Well, so let's move on. So ability and advice. When we talk about ability and advice, for ability, we use can, right? And could for the past. Nothing new, no secrets here. So, examples. She can play piano well. It's an ability because you study for that, you practice for that, so you have this ability. She can play piano well. Just Alonso said before I move on, is it possible to make a revision about degrees of certainty of the modal verb? So can is almost 100%. All right. I will just show guys a picture that I just used. Okay, maybe you can print screen because the material I was using about Canada, about Steven, it's from this worksheet. What you can try to remember it's this box. So if you want to print or take a picture of this box, so it's like must, 95% sure something is possible, might, could, may, maybe, 50%, and can't is 95% sure something is not possible. So in this case, for this kind of message, must and can't are the exact opposite. Okay. So I hope I have answered Alonso. Okay, because that's basically the idea. Right? So I can send this worksheet in the group later, if you wish. Just send me a message to remember. But that's pretty much it. Okay. If you are 100% sure, no modal verbs. So you say this is true or this is not true. Then you show that you are 100% sure about something. So let's move on. So she can play piano well, or in the past. When she was a child, she could play piano well. Or when she was a child, she was able to play piano well. It's the same thing. So you can choose can, could, or able to. Okay? Because it's another way to express ability in English. So like be able to. I have been able to understand this movie. I have been able to understand this movie. Now I understand it. Okay, so because it's not possible to use I have, can, or I have, could, try to use the present perfect with the modal verbs as the verb. So it's another way to express this. Or for the future, because can for the present, could for the past. For the future, she will be able to get here at 8 p.m. Okay, never use will, can. Okay, so I have seen sometimes students, probably because of Portuguese, they think ela poderá estar aqui, né? Ela será capaz de estar aqui, and sometimes they use she will, can get here at 8 p.m. So, but this combination doesn't exist, okay? Because will and can, they are in the same family, so they never work together. To express okay, that's pretty much the same thing about the ability in the past. Okay, we do not. So to express a past ability on one particular occasion, we do not use could, because could sometimes gives the impression of something repeated. Okay, so when she was a child, she could play the piano, so she practiced every day. She practiced for years in the past, and now she can't. So she could play the piano. Let's see some example. Were you able to find the restaurant? Okay, so were you able to find the restaurant? Okay, so did you find it? Okay, it was just one time, not a repeated action in the past. Or last week, I wasn't able to do much homework. Last week, I wasn't able to do much homework. It was just last week. It's not frequent. Okay, so we use could for past abilities or habits. Okay, when I was younger, I could run a lot faster than I do now. So when I was younger, I could run. That was an ability, a permanent ability that I had in the past. Now I can't, for example. So that's the idea. Advice. Advice, probably everybody remembers should for advice. It's also possible to use the word ought for the past. For advice. Usually the combination ought to. Okay, so ought and to, they are always connected. Ought to, ought to. So you should remember this. You ought to remember this. Exactly the same message. You really ought to study more. So you really ought to study more. Okay, so or you really should study more. Okay, it's the same thing. He shouldn't be so careless. He shouldn't be so careless. Okay, so care, like bye bye, take care, or careful. So careless is the opposite of careful, because the suffix is different. Okay, so careless, homeless, childless. You don't have home, you don't have a child. Now, should and not to, they express a mild advice. Okay, it's a soft advice. Okay, it's a recommendation, a suggestion. Carolina said, yes, please. Yes, please. What, Carolina? Okay. So, should and ought to represent some soft advice. We also have the expression had better. Okay, had better expresses some strong advice because usually, if the person does not follow this advice, there may be some consequence to that. Okay, so you had better. Sometimes, especially in spoken English, people don't say had, they just say better. Oh, you better do it. Okay, you better finish your homework now, or I will call your mother. Okay, so this intonation, facial expression, the words you had better finish the homework now suggests some bad consequence if you don't finish the homework now. So that's the implicit thing. Mothers love had better. Oh, you had better do the dishes, or else, se não, or else. Okay, so that's the had better in action. Luciano asked that we can use ought to for present and conditional sentences. For present, yes. For conditional tenses, I'm not sure. I don't think conditional sentences match with ought to because usually the conditionals they use the other modals like can, will, could, or would. Okay, it's more like those. Ought to. Let me try to think of some example that to see if it fits. Yeah, you could say that, for example, oh, if you don't know how to do this exercise, you ought to look for it on internet. It's possible, yeah. You should look for it on. Yes, it's possible to use. The same way you would use should, you can use ought to. Mariana asked, what is the difference of both? Oh my gosh, I don't know yet. Both, which ones? Now I'm confused about which expressions. Both, which ones exactly? Sorry, Mariana. And Alonso, is there a negative form of ought to? In the grammar books, I'm not sure, but I have seen people using you ought not to, using the not before the to. You ought not to do that. Okay, this is something that I remember people using. You ought not to do that because it's dangerous, for example. Okay, should. Yes. Okay, I think I get it now. Should and ought to. No, Mariana, there's no difference. Okay, you could use. If you're giving an advice, you could use both interchangeably. Should and ought to, they have the same equivalence. Just like we discussed before, if you're expressing expectation for should, expectation, yes, you just use should. Ought to doesn't work. Ought to is exclusive for advice, recommendation. Okay, now we got it. All right, so let's move on. So here we have some examples. If you want to do better in class, you had better study and come every day. If you want to do better in class, you had better study and come every day. Because if you don't study, if you don't study or come every day, you will do terribly in class. So there's some bad consequence if you don't come to class. So you had better study. So it's more like this. Or the second example, she had better call me. She had better call me. Okay, so I need to talk to her now. I need to talk to her. So she had better call me. Okay, so that's kind of a context that might happen. So if she doesn't call me, I'll be angry. Okay, the negative for had better is had better not. Okay, so I had better not eat this. Okay, so I had better not eat this because I'll get fat or because, so you smell the milk, it has a bad smell, so I had better not drink this. because implicitly, if I drink it, I may get sick, I may throw up, or something like that. The second example, oh, you had better not do that again, okay? So please, don't do it. You had better not do that again, or you will get in trouble. Okay, so remember that had better not always suggest some bad consequence if you don't follow the advice. Okay, guys. Well, so that's for advice, not very different from what you probably knew. Should, shouldn't, okay, just maybe some new details about the ought to and had better, right? And for try to pay attention to, I don't know, to movies or songs, people will always say, you better not do this, okay? Or I better not drink the milk. I better. So people don't have, almost never say the word had, okay? So it's something that you can notice along the way. So tell me about some things that people had better not do in public. Okay. So what had people better not do in public? Right. So give me some ideas about it. And also give me some ideas about things you should do every day. Maybe you don't, but things you should do every day. For example, I should exercise every day. Yeah, I don't, but I should. I know I should. I don't exercise, basically. So give me some ideas about things people had better not do in public, and things you should do every day. Luciano said, you had better not smoke in here. All right. Had better not smoke in here. Okay. Now we are home. We shouldn't smoke. That's fine. But people had better not smoke in public. Yes, that's against the law, especially in enclosed spaces. Angelo said, people should stay at home. Yes, that's true. People should stay at home. Okay. It's not a law, so it's not an obligation, but it's the recommendation. People should stay at home now at the moment, okay, because of the virus. Okay, Luciano said, oh yes, we should respect people, okay, or we should be respectful with people. That's true. This is something that people expect you to do, to be respectful with them. Cynthia said, I should take my dog to walk every day. I am sure your dog agrees with that, okay, 100%. I hope your dog doesn't listen to me saying that or read this, because your dog will start asking you, hey, Cynthia, let's go, I want to walk. Marianne said, you had better not talk loud in the hospital. That's true. You have some signs posted on the walls like, shh, silence, please. Yes, that's true. You had better not talk loud in the hospital. Mauricio said you had better study a little every day. That's true. Okay, you had better study a little every day. Sometimes it's better studying little by little every day than studying 5 hours on one day, because your brain starts settling the knowledge. Miriam said you had better get out home without your mask. Yes, or maybe you had better not get out home without mask. Now I guess it's pretty much a law. Yes, you can't leave home without your mask, or you can be fined. So you have to pay a ticket for that. Fausto said you had better use the mask outside home. Yes, so you had better use the mask outside home. It's implicit, the consequence. If you don't wear your mask, you will get a ticket. Okay, vai ter uma multa. So the consequence, Mauricio said, had better not go outside without a mask. Good. Caroline, we should drink 2 liters of water every day. We should drink, that's the recommendation, the advice, 2 liters of water every day. Okay, that's true. Teacher, can I say she for my dog? I forget about this. Yes, Mariana, especially because it's your dog, so you have some emotional link to her. So you can use she, her for your dog. Yes, I suppose it's a female because you used she. Hmm. Angela said you had better you had better not drive if you're drunk. That's true. Okay, there there may be consequences. You may kill somebody. You may cause an accident. You can lose your driver's license if you're caught doing it. Okay, so don't do it. Alonso said you better not wash dirty clothes. Better not wash dirty clothes. Why not, Alonso? Because when the clothes are dirty, you have to wash them. Okay, I don't know. But yes, or maybe because there's a lack of water. Have you seen Iguazu Falls recently? It's we can recognize it because it's completely dry. So maybe you have maybe you shouldn't waste water like we used to. You know. Angela said because it isn't raining. Oh yes, that's right. That's right. You had better not take showers, student. Okay, so just take a shower once a week. I think it's enough. Maybe we don't have to go to parties or social events. Why take a shower? Okay, yes, yes. Maybe I'm not so conscious about the water, so that's why I didn't understand Alonso's example. I'll pay more attention to that. All right, guys. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so if you have any other questions, just type it there. And the last point we have to see tonight about obligation and willingness. Okay, so obligation, similar to Portuguese, willingness seria uma predisposição, uma vontade de fazer alguma coisa. Willingness, you are willing to do something. Yes, taking a shower once a week is a way to stay at home. Yes, because if you don't stay, people may push you. Okay, just no, go home, please. Don't stay here. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, let's see some obligation modals. Basically, must expresses obligation. Okay, must express strong obligation, and it's usually based on the opinion of the speaker. Okay. So you must watch this movie. It's so good. You must watch this movie. You have to watch this movie. Okay, it's my opinion. It's not a law. Okay, for example, it's my opinion. You must work harder. Okay, if you want to be successful, you must work harder, or you must work smarter if you want to be successful. Okay, something like that. Or I must get a haircut. Okay, my hair is getting too long, so I must get a haircut. Okay, it's like an opinion. It's not an obligation because of a law or because social rules. I don't know. It's just an opinion. So that's more like it. Right, Alonso said in Portuguese we have a popular saying, não lavar roupa suja em público. That's true. Okay. Very cool. Yes, these idiomatic expressions, students, translating into another language almost never works. Yeah, that's a good example. So must we use for obligation, especially when it's an opinion. If it's not an opinion, it's preferable to use have to. So have to expresses a general obligation that comes from outside the speaker. Maybe a social convention, maybe a real law about it. So when you talk about obligations that you did not create, it's common to use have to. Okay, so it's true about rules, laws, systems that you did not create. For example, we have to speak other languages outside of the school. Here we speak English, but when we finish the class, you have to speak Portuguese probably with your family members, because if you speak English with them, probably they will not get what you say. Or in this country, you have to pay a lot of money to go to the hospital. Not in Brazil, maybe in Canada, yes, but Brazil we have the the public system, the public health system. So You don't need to pay a lot of money. Okay. Often, rules and laws are written and spoken using must by people if it's their job to communicate these rules. That's a detail. Okay, for example, if you go to the library, you may see the sign on the wall, books must be returned by 6 p.m. Okay. It could be expressed with have to, okay, but probably a person would say, hey man, you have to return the book by 6 p.m., so hurry up. Okay. But with an official posting, probably it's going to be written must. So books must be returned, or English must be spoken inside the school at all times. So this may be a rule of the school, and then you may see the sign, or maybe the director of the school, hey, English must be spoken inside the school at all times. Okay, so, or maybe you park your car in the wrong parking spot, and then the police officer, sir, you must move your car. Okay, you can't park here. You must move your car. Something like that. Mustn't expresses a negative obligation. Okay, so that's why in the beginning of the class I said that you cannot use mustn't for negative guesses. So for example, oh, wow, I don't know, I can hear water outside. It must be raining. It's a guess, positive guess. But oh, I can't hear water outside, so it mustn't be raining. No, mustn't doesn't express a guess. It expresses just a negative obligation, a prohibition, basically. So that's why you cannot use must 95% sure and mustn't 95% not sure about something. And don't have to expresses no obligation, okay? No obligation, but it's not a prohibition. Mustn't expresses prohibition, and don't have to, it's like a choice. You don't have to do it, but you can if you want to. In this class, you mustn't come late. That's a rule, okay? You mustn't come late. Or where I'm from, you mustn't ever do that, okay? So maybe you can tell this to some American guys or British, like, oh, you're from Brazil. Oh, so that's okay. That's okay. And then you can tell the person, hey, where I'm from, you mustn't ever do that. It's offensive in Brazil, okay? But it's just the letter O and the letter K. But in Brazil, you mustn't ever do that. In some other countries, you mustn't ever do that. Okay? Especially some Asian countries or Middle Eastern countries, this can be very offensive. It's like fuck you, because it's like up yours. So don't do that. Okay? So it's some situations that you might use it. Or the next example, the third one, you can come to class. You can come late to this class. So you have this possibility. You don't have to be on time. Okay? So the first two examples express prohibition. You are not permitted to do that. In the last two examples, you have a choice. You don't have to be on time, but if you want to, it's okay. Or where I'm from, you don't have to do that. Okay, so I don't know, talking about Brazilian customs. Uh, to be punctual, to arrive on time. In Brazil, you don't have to do that. Okay, people expect you to arrive late. If they invite you to a party at 7 p.m., they expect you to arrive at 8 or 9 p.m. Okay, that's true. Okay, but that's just a joke, but just to show you that the difference between a prohibition and an option, a choice that you have. And have, okay, is differently from the modal verbs, just a detail. Have is a normal verb, so you can use have, has, having, had, will have. Okay, so a normal verb, so you conjugate it according to your needs. I've never had to wake up early every day like this before. Okay, so, or I've never had to stay home every day like this now, what we are facing. Do you enjoy having to do homework every night? So do you enjoy having to do homework every week? I hope you do, okay, or I hope you don't mind. Or the third example, I had to take care of my friends' pets and children. It was a big responsibility, so I had to take care. It was like an obligation I had. And then you have a no. In British English, opinions of what people should do can be expressed with must or should, okay, but not usually have to. But this is usually for British people, British English. And then you can extend that maybe for Australian English or Indian because they were colonized more, for more time by British people. Okay, so let's see if there's no examples, but that's the thing. So British English probably, oh, for example, oh, nowadays we must wake up early. Nowadays we must stay home every day. So, oh, okay. So it's not an opinion. It's a rule outside of my opinion, but a British person might choose this structure. Oh, nowadays we must stay home every. But okay, so basically you can see that must have to. They are very interchangeable. So practically in practical English, like the one you talk to people every day, there's very little difference. Some other expressions, be required to. Okay, so now in this one, like Luciano asked before, if you can use may for a requirement. Uh, Not very often, but required is the literal verb. So you are required to complete this form, okay, or be supposed to. So people expect you to do something, so you are supposed to. Okay, so oh, I work in a. I am usually the first person to arrive in the office, so I am supposed to open the office every morning, for example. And need to is just need to, no secrets around it. Sir, you are required to buy a ticket before entering the museum. Okay, so it's like an obligation. You have to do it. So, sir, you are required to buy. Sir, you need to buy a ticket. Sir, you must buy a ticket. Sir, you. The other required, be supposed, you need to, you must buy. So, four ways to express some obligation, basically. Right, so that's more like it. Okay, so you have many ways to express the same thing, just pick yours. And willingness, okay, just to the last thing that we should discuss. Willingness, like the word suggests, is expressed by the modal will, okay? So, oh, I'll open the door for you. Okay. If you remember 2 weeks ago when we discussed about the future, I'll open the door for you expresses a decision, an action at the moment of decision. So not planned. Okay. So I wasn't planning this, and then I see the person having some trouble opening the door. Oh, excuse me, I'll open the door for you, but I show some willingness. Okay. Estou disposto a fazer isso. So I will open the door for you. Or the second example, we'll give you a ride to the airport tomorrow. We'll give you a ride. So we won't do that, okay? We will give a ride. Basically, if you analyze, for example, in German, the verb want, okay, or the idea want in German is will, W-I-L-L. So, for example, when you say in German, ich will, blah, 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 blah. So it's like, I want. So, and because English and German, they have the same origin, okay? These Germanic languages, the idea is the same. So when you say in English, I will, it's not only future, but it also shows some willingness, okay? So you are willing to do that. You want to do that, okay? So that's the idea of will. And that's why we use will for the actions at the moment, because you see, oh, I'll help you. Okay, so, oh, teacher, could you repeat that? Oh, okay, I'll do that. So because I show some willingness to serve the request that was posed to me. Okay. And won't, we're gonna see that expresses a refusal, so a rejection by people or things. Okay, so for example, I don't know what's wrong with my car. It won't start. So you try to start the engine. Okay, so that's the verb that you use for cars and machines. You start. Okay, of course you can use turn on, but especially for vehicles, start the engine. So, oh, I try, but my car won't start. Okay, that's the thing. This moment, in Portuguese, we would say, eu não sei o que tem de errado com o meu carro, ele não liga. Geralmente a gente usa o verbo no presente normal. Ele não liga, ele não quer ligar. Eu estou tentando imprimir aqui, mas a impressora não funciona. So I'm trying to print a document, but the printer won't work. Okay, so that's the moment to use won't in this situation. It's not okay to say the printer doesn't work, because the printer doesn't work. It's a routine, it's permanent. Okay, but in this situation, oh, I'm trying to turn on the car, but it won't start. Okay, so this is another application of the use of the word won't. Mauricio asks, but we can say my will to mean yes. So you can use will to say vontade. Will can also work as testament. Okay, testamento. Will also works as testamento, because doesn't matter if you say minha vontade, né, de minha disposição. The root, the meaning, the deep meaning of the word is always the same. Minha vontade, my will. Meu testamento, que é minha vontade, my will. Okay, uma disposição, okay, my willing to do something. So the basic idea of the word is pretty much the same in all the cases, right? So, and that's also the reason why we use will for future, because it's the future, so you have the intention to do something. Okay, so you can say, oh, tomorrow I think I will watch a movie. Okay, so I have this intention, and it's kind of a plan, so I have my intention. Okay, and also I don't know if you have already thought of it, but the past of will is would. Okay, so will, the past is would. For example, when I was a child, my mother would let me watch TV while I ate breakfast. Okay, or when I was a child, my mother used to let me watch TV while I ate breakfast. Okay, so you could say that. So would and used to show some similar ideas of repeated things. So in this case, it was a habit or a routine. Every time I had breakfast, I used to, or I would watch TV. So it shows some repetition of the idea. And usually the simple past, for example, my mother let me watch TV yesterday. This has a tendency of being a unique situation. Okay, so that's why it's better to express repeated ideas in the past with would and used to. Then the last example, I had to walk home last night because the bus driver wouldn't let me get on the bus with my coffee. So I had to walk home because the bus driver wouldn't let me. So can I come in? No. No liquids in the bus. Oh, please, let me enter the bus. No liquids. Okay, you have to finish your coffee before you get in. Okay, so something like that. Right, guys. Let me see. Angelo said is used to more like costumava. Exactly. Okay. So in Portuguese, we have, I guess, two structures that we use the costumava for repeated actions in the past. So eu costumava fazer isso. So it's better expressed with used to in English. Also, when we use o pretérito imperfeito, eu fazia, eu comia, eu corria, eu brincava. So this is also, in Portuguese, it shows some repetitions. Quando era criança eu brincava na rua a semana inteira. So it shows some repetition, okay? And also, eu brinquei, it's usually a unique situation, a one-time situation. So that's right, Angelo. Okay. Um, that's all. Let's see. Yeah, that was the last one, guys. So that's it. So just to go over, basically tonight we discussed modals. Okay, in general, big review of the modal verbs. So we use. I believe there's shall. Let me just key. Right. A shall. Yes, there's shall here. Shall. I don't know if you use it, if you have seen it. Okay, maybe in a certain movie. But shall is basically for this. So shall was more used in the past, especially with Old English, some classic English. You had shall, but to express willingness in the form of a question, English uses the modal shall. Okay, so for example, shall I buy you a cup of coffee? Okay, so it expresses some willingness because I wanna buy or I have some intention to buy you some coffee, but I'd like some confirmation. So shall I buy you a cup of coffee? Or sometimes people say, shall we go? Shall we start? Okay. Um, one advice that I give you guys is just Mariana asked, ing in the ate breakfast. How Mariana ing in the ate breakfast, like eating breakfast or something? Okay. So just I didn't get it. But while you answer, just about one thing, guys. When we use let's in English, okay, it's never a question. Okay, so you don't say things like let's go, let's do it, okay, let's eat, okay, because let's is not a question. Let's is an order. So you don't ask, you order. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's eat. If you wanna, if you wanna express this message as a question, you use shall. Okay, so shall we go? Shall we start? Shall we eat? That's the appropriate use for a, a, an order, but it's also a question. It's like an invitation, you know. So, but be careful about the use of let's, because I see lots of Brazilians using let's go, let's do it, okay, as a question, but it's not a question. Um, let's see, Luciano asked, shall is the same thing that would you like? Yeah, yes, yes and no. Maybe the meaning is the same, but the usage, yeah, it's a detail that I didn't mention, but you may see that both examples, shall I and shall we. Basically, we just use shall for these two subjects, I and we, okay? I know probably some of you remember Lord of the Rings movie that Gandalf says, you shall not pass. Okay, so this is a very classic sentence in, in pop culture. So he uses, you shall not pass. In that message, in the context of the movie, the message was, you will not pass. Okay, so I will not permit you to pass. So, but he uses, you shall not pass. I don't have an explanation for that. Okay, so Tolkien, the writer of the books, he was a linguist, an expert in language. So I am nobody to correct J.R.R. Tolkien. Okay, so I have no explanation. But the grammar books say that you use shall for I and we specifically. So in this case, would you like, Luciano, because of the word you, so then it's not so possible to use shall because of the subject. But then the last theme, yes, ing in the breakfast. In that case, Mariana, about the breakfast, it's in the ate breakfast in the past because of the context. Okay, so the person is talking about the past. So When I was a child, my mother would let me, ela me deixava assistir TV enquanto eu comia, quando eu tomava o café da manhã. So in that case, ing wouldn't fit. Maybe in another situation, or another verb could be. Yes, Fausto. Yes, now I saw Fausto's question. All examples in the first person. Why? That's it. So shall we just use for the first person, the singular form or the plural form, I and we. And Mateus asked, shall is used more informally. Not really, Mateus. You can use shall for, okay, maybe in a business meeting you can use shall we start? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, shall we go? Okay, so actually I guess people have a tendency of using shall as more formal than other structures. Okay. Um, that's it. Any more questions? Let me see. Any more questions, guys? I believe it's over. So I'm gonna end the transmission now. Okay, so we may have a. Let's take 10 minutes of a break so you can rest, or have some water, go to the toilet, or whatever. Okay, and then I'll start calling the groups to the speaking part, and then you may enter the website as we usually do. Okay. So if you have any questions or anything during the speaking part, please ask. Okay, we have a smaller group, and then I can have a real time feedback, because here we have the writing, we have the delay of the website. So that's it, guys. So I'm gonna end the transmission. Thank you for watching and see you soon. Let's take a 10-minute break now, okay?